So I'm not gonna lie, I tried to make this video already. I actually just got done making this video, but I forgot to hit record. So the entire time I was yapping and I didn't hit record. So we're gonna do this video again. This is Jimmy High Rollers, the harsh truth about the GOAT debate.
To get the fresh 14 for the Lakers. LeBron! Look out below!
Oh my lord!
It's never gonna end, is it?
So bad.
LeBron's reign over the NBA? I've just come to the conclusion that LeBron has hacked into the Matrix and has transcended aging. LeBron is in his 19th NBA season and is somehow still one of the best players on the planet. This isn't supposed to happen. 99% of NBA players peak in their mid to late 20s and then slowly regress as they age, eventually becoming a liability to their team and inevitably sailing off into the sunset, washed up and content with their achievements. But not LeBron. The man is fighting his age like he's got a grudge on time itself. And the more he piles up on these mind-bending feats, the more we must ask ourselves the question, and I really hate to do this, but is LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time?
Before he gets into it, I'm going to give my opinion about it. I believe, yes, LeBron James is the GOAT. So at the end of the video, I am going to give my opinion on why I believe LeBron James is the GOAT, but I do believe LeBron is the GOAT. I know that Jimmy's going to say that he's the GOAT because I've already watched this. But in my watching this, he does make solid points, but he doesn't give context to a lot of those points, which is what a lot of people do. But it's Jimmy High Roller, dude. I'm not going to say anything about it.
If he isn't, what would he need to do to truly, once and for all, be the GOAT? About 5 years ago, I uploaded my first basketball-related video onto this channel. The title of that video, Is LeBron the GOAT? You can still watch this video today, but since it's an absolute dog water of a production, I highly recommend you steer clear of it. To summarize the video, I gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. Fast forward 5 years and thousands of hours of watching games, collecting data, and gathering context in this sport that we love. I've since changed my ways and realized that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Cap, but also this was made 3 years ago, so keep that in mind.
But my original assessment from 5 years ago hasn't completely changed, because I never said LeBron was the GOAT at the time. I just gave 10 reasons why LeBron would retire as the GOAT. But ever since I dropped that video, I've pretty much avoided the GOAT conversation altogether. I've put a spin on the idea of the greatest players in certain aspects of the game. I've talked about the greatest scorers, I've ranked players using purely numbers, but I've never really broken down who the greatest player is, in my opinion, because I just feel like the topic is a bit redundant. And ESPN already gives you a daily update on the GOAT debate anyways, so no need for me to do it. But I think it's time we actually discuss this, because what LeBron is doing at this point in his career is just absurd. At the moment, there are pretty much
not only what he was doing then, 3 years ago, but what he's doing now, right? Like, if we look at LeBron now, it's like, bias aside, it's absurd what he's doing. Genuinely, it's actually absurd.
3 different camps on the whole GOAT debate. People who think Michael Jordan is the GOAT, people who think LeBron.
I think that this is pretty outdated. I think at this point, excluding the other, I think it's about a 50-50. LeBron's the GOAT and Jordan's the GOAT. But again, as I'm going to say a lot in this video, I think that the GOAT debate is subjective, right? You can have the opinion that Jordan's the GOAT, that's fine, right? You have the LeBron's the GOAT, you're right, that's also fine. But I think this is about 50-50 now.
Is the GOAT, and people who are wrong. I'm just joking, of course. But not really. I'd say about 75% of people fall into the MJ's the GOAT category, about 20% of people fall into the LeBron's the GOAT category, and about 5% fall into the other category. Usually these other fans believe the GOAT is Wilt or Kobe or Kareem. There's not many of them, but boy, will they die on that hill. See, the thing here is that a lot of the fans in MJ's corner believe that he is and will forever be the GOAT. But realistically, is there anything LeBron can do to surpass him? I mean, there's gotta be some sort of objective metric we can use to distinguish the greatest player of all time. No opinions, no bias, just the facts. Where does that threshold lie, and what would LeBron have to achieve to get there? First, let's just take a look at the basic numbers. Between Michael and LeBron, LeBron has more career points, rebounds, assists, blocks, more triple doubles, higher field goal percentage, and a higher three-point percentage. And Michael has more steals and a higher free throw percentage. But this whole argument, the career totals argument, is only useful in demonstrating LeBron's longevity and sustained excellence.
Which I am going to say later on in the video. I do believe that longevity trumps peak every time, all the time. Longevity will always trump peak. And the example that I used before was if you're a farmer, right, and you're growing crops and stuff, do you want rain to last 13 years, or do you want the rain to last 20 plus years, right? You're going to go with the 20 plus. You're not going to go with the 13. You're going to go with the 20. So I think that that's I think that's clear cut that longevity trumps. And even if you look at peak between LeBron and Jordan, LeBron's peak was better, right? LeBron's longevity is better and LeBron's peak was better, in my opinion.
These numbers don't prove that LeBron's a better scorer, or rebounder, or defender, or shooter than Jordan. They just prove that LeBron's been good at these things for a very, very long time. These numbers also show just how versatile LeBron is, possibly his most valuable asset. So instead of looking at...
I'm going to add to that LeBron James is the most versatile player that we've ever seen in basketball history. Not just NBA, but basketball history. He's the most versatile player of all time. The second most versatile player of all time was Jordan's teammate, Scottie Pippen, who, by the way, I know in the clip that I have on the channel, I think it's in the shorts, I said that Scottie Pippen is a better player than Michael Jordan. I'm capping, by the way. I don't actually believe that. It's clickbait. He absolutely is the second best all-around basketball player behind LeBron.
Career totals, let's look at career averages. Michael averages more points and more steals, and LeBron averages more assists and more rebounds. A required comment about their finals records, and you pretty much have a condensed version of most GOAT debates. But there is so much more to unpack here. So let's unpack it. So y'all know how much I like advanced stats. They don't tell the full story, but if you know which ones to look for,
keep that in mind. It doesn't tell the full story.
Or you can discover some nuances in a player's game that you won't get by just watching them play. These 6 advanced stats give us efficiency, production, value, impact, and pretty much everything in between. And in these 6 advanced statistics, Michael Jordan exceeds LeBron in 5 of them. He's more efficient overall. He contributes to more wins. He contributes to more points. He's better on defense, and he is generally more valuable on the court than LeBron is. The only advanced stat where LeBron tops
I'm going to leave out the defense. If you know, you know.
Jordan is true shooting percentage. Now, in terms of who's a better basketball player, nearly every metric points to Michael Jordan. But really take a look at these numbers, and it's actually uncanny just how close LeBron is to MJ across the board.
I think a lot of those stats have changed now, because obviously this was 3 years ago. So I think a lot of those stats are, or at least some of those stats have gone in favor now of LeBron.
Of accolades and accomplishments and impact on the game. Take away the rings, the influence, the intangibles, the opinions, and it's virtually objectively true that Michael was a better basketball player than LeBron. But the GOAT debate isn't necessarily about who is the better player. It's about who is the greatest player.
I think it's both. I think, at least for me, as I said before, the GOAT debate is subjective.
We've got some more unpacking to do. Now, we cannot have a thorough GOAT debate without discussing the accomplishments of each player. Numbers are cool, and they have their...
By the way, he doesn't give, like, all of the accomplishments, right? But if you look at all of the accomplishments and achievements, LeBron wipes Jordan.
Purpose, but numbers alone aren't indicative of greatness. They're just a vehicle to greatness. This is why, despite James Harden spending half a decade piling up some of the greatest scoring numbers in NBA history, most people don't consider him greater than some players with far lesser offensive numbers.
And those some people would be wrong.
The numbers complement the accolade.
Prime James Harden is a better scorer than Prime Jordan.
It's not the other way around. This is also why I consider Wilt Chamberlain to have been a better basketball player than Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was greater than Wilt. Wilt achieved his greatness through his numbers, whereas Russell achieved his greatness by contributing to an unrelenting style of winning basketball. So let's take a look at the accomplishments of both Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Now, there are plenty of other awards a player can earn in the NBA, but these are the ones that really stand out on a player's resume. Championships, Finals MVPs, regular season MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, all NBA selections, and all defensive team selections. And amongst these 6 categories, Jordan beats LeBron in 5 of them. And Michael accomplished all of this in just 15 seasons to LeBron's full 18 seasons. The only category where LeBron outperformed Michael is in all NBA selections. And most will argue that, again,
I also think it's criminal that LeBron doesn't have more all defensive selections.
this is an accomplishment of longevity more than anything else, which at this point seems to be the overall theme in the GOAT debate. Up to this point in his career, the majority of fans will agree that LeBron has been a step below Jordan in terms of greatness.
I think it's what you define greatness as, right? If you have a very forward way of thinking of things, yeah, you look at this, right? And you're going to say Jordan's the GOAT. But if you don't know that a lot of these are voter based, and the context of voter fatigue and bias towards players, you're not going to look at that with that much weight that it supposedly has still, right? Along with the championships.
Up to this point in his career, the majority of fans will agree that LeBron has been a step below Jordan in terms of greatness. So now the race to become the GOAT has become a marathon, because eventually the sheer volume of LeBron's career numbers and achievements may become so overwhelming that we'll have no choice but to concede that he is in fact the greatest player of all time.
That shows
The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. A great quote by the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu regarding the idea of excellence and the sustainability of it. Almost as if you can have longevity or be exceptional, but you can't have both. Now, in the world of
and LeBron's the rare case that you can have both. At such an elite level, it doesn't make or break it, but it definitely gives a way higher.
Basketball and sports in general, usually being exceptional translates to longevity and vice versa. Michael Jordan was excellent for 13 seasons in the NBA. His flame was violently bright and had burned for quite some time. But what if there was a flame that burned about 95% as bright and lasted much, much longer? At a certain point, the radiance of even the brightest flame is outclassed by the flame that just won't quit. Of course, LeBron isn't a flame. He's a 6'9", 250-pound freak of nature in basketball shoes, but his light shines about 95% as bright as Michael Jordan's did, and it's lasting a whole lot longer. When does the longevity of LeBron's brilliance simply outmatch the slightly greater?
I don't even want to see this shot. As a Raptors fan, I don't even want to see this shot. I saw this live too. I hate this shot.
But much shorter brilliance of Michael. Because as we've discussed, Mike trumps LeBron in pretty much every single metric other than longevity and overall production. NBA season, and he's leading the NBA in scoring. He's still a top 5 player in the league, and his bag is getting deeper and deeper with every season.
That's so true though. If you look at LeBron now at 40, turning 41, LeBron has become such a vastly better three-point shooter, and even you can make an argument decision maker that he was in his past years. He regresses in athleticism, not by much, but he regresses in athleticism, but he makes up for it in getting better in like 5 other different categories that he wasn't the best at when he was younger.
Here's a chart of LeBron's total points, assists, and rebound averages throughout each season of his career. Each point on the graph represents the total average of points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career.
And this graph just gets better, right? Obviously, as again, this was 3 years ago when this video dropped, but if you look at it now, it just keeps getting better in LeBron's favor.
Anything above a total of 40 is exceptional. LeBron's total production has exceeded 40 in 17 different seasons. Now here's Michael's total average points, assists, and rebounds for every season of his career. This is by far the greatest argument in favor of LeBron in the GOAT debate. There were other players that were still really good this late in their career. You mean like Kareem, or Kobe, or Karl Malone? They weren't even close. LeBron's already the only player to be a part of the 30K, 10K, 10K club. Aside from a freak injury, he'll undoubtedly break Kareem's scoring record.
And obviously, he did break he did break Kareem's record. LeBron James, because he's the only member of the 30, 10K, 10K club, now he is 40, 10, and 11.
He'll probably play the most seasons in an NBA career. He already has the
Which he surpassed, I believe, this year or the year prior.
record for most All-NBA selections, and he's still adding to what is probably the longest career highlight reel with moments like this. If LeBron is still doing this in a couple years, while still putting up All-NBA numbers, I really think it's going to be difficult to say that he's not the greatest player ever.
And what did he do? And what has he been doing? What has he been doing, Jimmy? Never lost.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. While LeBron's legacy is growing as he plays more seasons, Michael's legacy would have been slightly diminished if he played more seasons.
I think it would have been, not slightly, I think it would have vastly impacted his career if he played 18 years. He would have played 18 years in the NBA if he didn't retire twice. I think it definitely would have diminished his career by a lot, not just slightly, a lot. Because he would have a James Harden type career where he puts up incredible numbers, but he gets nowhere, right?
Of course, this isn't a matter of fact, but all the evidence points towards this assumption. Michael Jordan retiring after playing just 13 NBA seasons in 1998 was the best thing he could have ever done for his legacy. The Bulls were not going to win another championship, and the backbone of the dynasty he had built had all but vanished by the beginning of the 1999 season. If he had played through that 3-year retirement gap from 1999 to 2001, he would have either stayed with the Bulls and put up huge numbers on a losing team, or signed with a different team and chased rings.
I don't think he would have signed with a different team. I think maybe for 1 year he would have, because he would get really desperate, but I don't think that would have happened. I think he would have stayed on the Bulls and had, in that time frame, he would have had like a James Harden type finals of his career.
Both options being far less illustrious than him going out on top with the team that drafted him. Michael's career was the perfect storm. He was drafted by a franchise that was ready and willing to build around him. He was on a roster that suited his skill sets extremely well, and he and the Bulls peaked right as the dominant teams from the 80s and early 90s like the Lakers, Celtics, and Pistons began to fade away. You could not have written a better career if you tried.
See, and I think that diminishes Jordan's GOAT debate status, right? Like, if you look at Jordan, he got into the perfect organization, perfect time. He won 4 rings in the 4 or 5 rings expansion era. He had, as Jimmy said, like a picture perfect start to his career. And if you look at LeBron, as he's going to get into, if you look at LeBron, got drafted to the worst franchise, got drafted to the most incompetent franchise in the league, a franchise that didn't build around him, that didn't give him pieces, that refused to build a team around him or a system around him, and he left to go to a team that did, right? So LeBron wasted 7 years of his early prime for a franchise that didn't give a shit about it.
On the other hand, despite his success, LeBron really got the short end of the deal many times throughout his career. He spent his first 7 seasons in the NBA playing for a team that could not have cared less about building a coherent team around him. He spent 4 straight finals going toe-to-toe with the most dominant dynasty in modern NBA history outside of Jordan's Bulls. While Michael was surrounded by players who were all willing to buy into their system, LeBron has spent many years carrying the load of bad rosters and seemingly incompetent teammates. Part of which is his own fault for trying to play GM and putting together piss-poor rosters.
Yeah, but you can say that about every superstar ever, right? Like, people diminish LeBron for having an opinion of who played and what team he wants to play for. Like, people diminish him because he went to Miami and leaving Cleveland where he got drafted. Why? He spent 7 years there and they did nothing for him. They didn't build a roster around him. They didn't build a system around him. They did nothing, right? They wasted 7 years of his career. So why are you diminishing LeBron for leaving that to go to a competent franchise and then leaving that franchise when, Dwayne Wade, obviously, he was regressing very hard. Chris Bosh with his heart. Sorry, the rest of the team wasn't on contracts. The franchise was going nowhere after the, I think about like third year, at the end of the third year. He went back to Cleveland, won them a championship, and then went to the Lakers.
And I bring up these small nuances because debate is very nuanced. As much as people want to act like the whole 6-0 in the finals is the end-all be-all to the discussion, it's just not. If rings were all that mattered, then Bill Russell would be the GOAT. Oh, but he played a long time ago, that doesn't count. Okay, well then Robert Horry is the GOAT because he has 7 rings to Jordan's 6. Well yeah, but Horry wasn't the best player on any of those championships. Okay, so is the argument about rings, or is it about being the best player on the court, or a mix?
The rings argument only goes with Jordan if it favors their narratives.
Of both is a player's performance, despite how masterful it was.
Like, for example, if LeBron had 7 rings and Jordan had 6, right, they're still going to say Jordan's the GOAT because, oh, LeBron team hopped and LeBron built quote-unquote super teams, right? You can't win. You can't win with that.
As all in vain if his team loses, the line becomes less and less clear the deeper you dig. No single metric can be used to determine this debate, and the unpacking of every small minute detail is a necessary burden. But unfortunately, it's a burden that most fans won't bother to take on. At the moment, I personally believe Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I also think he's the best basketball player of all time. But, unlike some fans, I don't think the door has closed on LeBron. I think that if LeBron can continue to dominate the league for a few more seasons and continue to shatter our previous notions of what we thought was possible in a single NBA career, I think that he has a chance to retire as the greatest player of all time.
With that being said, I wonder what Jimmy thinks now, because he hasn't made a video like this, an updated video. I wonder what he thinks now.
But of course, only time will tell. And fortunately for
And time did tell. LeBron's the GOAT.
LeBron, time seems to perpetually be on his side.
Jimmy's videos are always so good. I'm definitely going to make more with Jimmy's videos if this doesn't get taken down. But yeah, I know I said at the beginning of the video that I was going to say at the end of the video why I think LeBron's the GOAT, but I pretty much explained it already within the video. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time.